Hey everybody, Graham here from therecordingrevolution.com. Hope you are having an excellent week. Today I want to talk about the 5 key components to a solid home studio. I know we have a lot of different varying degrees of engineers that follow this website or this channel on YouTube. So we have people that have been doing this for many, many years. I have a lot of professionals that are following this and they just enjoy seeing some different ways of working or some different tips. And a lot of you guys even suggest great tips alongside whatever I'm suggesting, which is awesome. But we also have a lot of beginners, a lot of people that are just getting into home recording. Maybe you're a seasoned musician, maybe you're a seasoned live sound guy, but you're moving into the recording world. And there's a lot of information out there about home recording. That's kind of why I started this website, because there's too much information and a lot of it's confusing. So I try to streamline it to make it helpful for people that just want to actually make music that sounds really, really good and get good at this craft. So today I want to address the beginners, but this will also have something for you seasoned guys to kind of keep in mind what's really important in a home studio. We get lost on different components and different pieces of gear, but really there's only, in my mind, 5 key elements to a kickin' home studio. They're gonna look different in everyone's studio, but the components are the same. So let's run through them real quick. I'll give you some examples to think about, and the point of this video is to simplify, get you thinking about, do you have all 5 of those components, and are you using them to the best of your ability? And if you're confused about something else that's not one of those key components, maybe you can set it aside for a moment and make sure you got those 5 rocking. Number 1, your computer. It's the most important thing. These days, recording, mixing, it's all going in the box. It's all going to computers. I know it's not 100% there, I get that, but this is the most cost-effective way to be able to have a 32-track 100-track console in your bedroom for recording and mixing. You don't need tape machines, you don't need reel-to-reel, you don't need a mixer, you don't need anything. You need a computer. So your computer platform is the most important. Are you Mac or PC? Are you laptop or desktop? Are you old or new? Now, you can get started on probably the computer you're watching this on right now. You can definitely probably get recording and mixing on that computer. How far you'll be able to go, I don't know. If you're just doing acoustic guitar and a vocal demo, a couple of tracks, 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 tracks, you can probably get working right away with what you have. If you want to record things that are going to have more than that, like 30 tracks, 40 tracks, you're going to want to mix a lot of complex stuff, do a lot of editing, that kind of stuff. You're gonna find the limitation of your computer pretty quickly. So what you want to do is work as much as you can on what you have till you max it out, and you'll realize, man, once I get 20 tracks in, or once I get a bunch of plugins in, you'll know that limit. Trust me, I've hit that limit before. It's frustrating. But the good thing is computers keep getting more affordable. Multi-core processors are just more and more common, and you can just do outstanding stuff on your computer. So take stock of what computer you have. I don't care if it's Mac or PC. I don't really swing one way or the other. I'm a Mac guy, that's what I use, but I have friends in the industry that I work alongside that do professional stuff on PCs, and they don't like Macs. They prefer to work in the PC platform. So work with what you know, okay? But you have to start there, because that will determine what your number 2 thing is. So pick your computer. Laptop or desktop, I don't think it really matters these days, because laptops are insanely powerful. I do a lot of mobile recording and I'm tracking no problem on a laptop. I've mixed on laptops. They're pretty powerful. You just get more bang for your buck on a desktop. You just kind of do. So, and you know that. You sacrifice portability. But pick your computer. I would say this. Max out the RAM as best you can. RAM is totally going to help, especially as programs move 64-bit and they all move that direction. RAM is cheap. It's a cheap way to keep your computer fresh, but get as many cores as you can and as much RAM as you possibly can. But you don't have to get the top of the line computer. Computer leads you to number 2, software. What platform, recording or mixing wise, are you going to use? Okay, so this is are you using Pro Tools? Are you using Logic? Are you using Studio One? Are you using Cubase? Are you using Nuendo? Are you using FL Studio? Are you using Reason? I mean, the list goes on of what you could possibly use. Some of this decision might be made for you by your computer choice, all right? Some programs are Mac only. Some programs are PC only. So like Sonar is PC only. Logic is Mac only. A lot of programs like Pro Tools, Cubase, Studio One are both platforms. So you have options there. Start with your computer, pick a piece of software. Now, what software should you go for? It depends. There are some that seem to be geared more for certain types of music and certain ways of working, but honestly, I've worked with almost all the DAWs out there, and they're all pretty awesome. They all can do a lot of the same things. They're all going to be able to be your tape machine. You'll be able to track tons of tracks. They're all going to be your audio editing software. It allows you to splice things up, fix drum timings, guitar timings, tune vocals, all that kind of stuff. And then they all allow you to mix. So you can have your virtual mixer, you can have plugins, and most of these are coming with awesome stock plugins. Check out the video I've done on mixing with stock plugins. It's pretty much all you need to get going. A lot of the preferences software comes with either what you've grown up using, what your mentor used, what you used in college if you went to school for this, or just sort of the visual way you like to work, okay? So I use Pro Tools because I grew up using Cakewalk products. I did a little bit on Sonar for a little bit, and then when I went to college, the whole studio there was Pro Tools, so I wanted to buy a Pro Tools rig so I could take sessions back and forth. And the studios I've worked with all use Pro Tools. So in my professional track, before I was just doing my own thing, it helped me with collaboration. It's what everyone was using. I've been using it for over a decade, and I know it like the back of my hand. So what that does for me is it allows me to get out of Pro Tools thinking and get into music thinking. That's what you want, is you want to know a piece of software so well that all you're thinking about is making that vocal sound awesome, bringing that mix in tightly, getting that kick drum to pump, getting the song to be exciting, whatever it is for you. You don't want to be thinking about shortcuts or thinking about menus. So any piece of software you're going to have to learn, but pick one that fits in your budget, that fits with maybe the visual style you like to work. If it makes sense to you, roll with it. If you already own a piece of software and you're debating should I get a different DAW, like if you don't know that DAW very well, why don't you learn that first before you shop around? All the DAWs, people say they sound different. I know the math underneath is technically different. I get that coding can do different things and it's all about conversion and digital, but honestly, once your conversion has happened and it's in the box, how it processes it is more of a math thing and less of a sonic thing from my experience. So I wouldn't say there's a DAW out there that sounds better for your mixes. I kind of think that's a waste of your time. Pick a DAW that you know, that you're familiar with, that allows you to get to work. The DAW, DAW, Digital Audio Workstation, synonymous with your recording or mixing software. So you got to pick a computer that you're going to rock out. You want to max out the RAM and the cores as best you can, but fit it in your budget. I've been working on laptops for years. I've been working on iMacs for years. I don't even have the top of the line Mac. Don't need it. Pick a piece of software. Learn it. Please learn it. You'll realize it can do way more than you think it could. 3 is your audio interface. This is huge. This is like your converters and your mic preamps and your monitoring all in one box. Okay, this could be a USB device, this could be a FireWire, this could be Thunderbolt down the road, this could be PCI to your desktop. This is your box that replaces your mixer. You don't need a mixer, you don't need external mic preamps, you just need one of these boxes that have mic pre's on the front or the back. They have some jacks in for your guitars, they have line inputs for keyboards, they have headphone outputs so you can work on headphones, they have line outs for your monitor speakers down the road. It's a simple box, anywhere from $100 to thousands of dollars. They all do the same thing. They take analog sound, convert it to a digital sound, or digital signal, to fire over to your computer on a USB or a FireWire connection or whatever it is so that you can manipulate it in the software. This is huge because this is going to be your centerpiece of your studio. This is what you plug in. I got mine behind me. I'm using something from Focusrite. It's a Liquid Sapphire 56. I got a review of it on the site. But that big box just does the same thing as my smaller boxes I've done over the years. It just has more inputs and more outputs. They all do the same thing in essence. It's just how many tracks do you need to record at once? How many outputs will you need for monitoring? So if you're getting new to this, you probably just need a 2-channel interface. That's what I recommend all the time. 2 mic pre's maybe, 2 inputs at a time, so you can do a vocal and a guitar at a time. You can do a stereo drums with Recorder Man or something. You can do stereo piano, whatever. You have all those options to you, and then you can overdub, record the rest of the band one at a time, all on those same 2 inputs. Buy one of these boxes and move on. Don't worry about how expensive it needs to be. They're all making great converters. They're all going to do a great job. They're all going to sound better than the boxes did 20 years ago. So please, just buy a box that gets good reviews, that fits your budget, and has the number of inputs you need, and go to town. So your computer, your software, your audio interface, which is also your converters, Then what you need is a microphone, right? You need at least one good microphone to capture audio. I like to recommend a large diaphragm condenser microphone. This is like your typical studio vocal microphone, if you think about that, singing into the side of it. It's usually a cardioid pattern. You can get one of these for $100 or less. There's a ton of great brands that will make a $100 large diaphragm condenser mic. Go buy one and make every track with that thing. Record your vocals through it. Record your acoustic guitars through it. Mic up your electric guitar amp through it. Put it on drums for recording drums with one mic. Check out my video on that. You can record a whole drum kit with one mic, that same mic. Use it for a bass cab. Use it for violins. Use it for percussion if you want to do that. Use it for anything you can think of because you can overdub. All you need is one $100 mic to get started, and if you can't make a record with that, then you need to go back to the basics and figure out how to do that. Then maybe you can add more microphones down the road, but you just need one to get started. It's going to need phantom power, but your audio interface will have that, the 48 volts. Hit that button, your mic will work. All right? The fifth component and final component is monitoring, and I recommend people start out with a pair of headphones, a pair of studio headphones, right? So big old cans that go over your ears. I prefer closed back. You can have semi-open or open back, but I prefer closed back, meaning no sound escapes the side of it. It's a little less natural sounding in your ears than say like an open back or semi, but it's great for tracking because then you have click track or stuff in your ears that you're listening to as you're playing and overdubbing. It won't bleed into your microphone. And then they're great for mixing because if you're in a room that's untreated, if you just got started and you haven't put acoustic treatment on your walls and you haven't set up your desk in the optimal spot, and you can still get to work with a pair of closed back headphones, slap them on, then you don't have the room involved in your sound and you can get working on recording and mixing. Yeah, it's not natural. Yeah, I get that the stereo image is a little crazy wide than compared to speakers. It never stopped me from making records. You just learn it. Now, I've got a couple of posts on the blog. I've got a podcast. We talked about can you mix on headphones at simplyrecordingpodcast.com. You can check out some of those tips on how to get the most out of your headphones. But anything under the $100 mark, $100 or less, you can get a good pair of studio headphones and get working no problem. That's where I would say to start. Down the road, of course, you want to pick up a pair of monitor speakers. That way you can reference headphones and monitors. You're going to get better mixes faster and you won't, tire your ears as quickly. But what I'm talking about is the 5 key components. You need a solid computer that has plenty of RAM and isn't just jacked up with other software. You can be your main computer. You can get on the internet with it. I don't really care about that. Just make sure it's clean and powerful and has plenty of RAM. Pick a piece of software and don't look back. They're all great options. I have friends in the industry making records on Logic, Studio One, Sonar, Pro Tools, Cubase, all of them. So pick one, roll with it, and learn it. Computer, software, audio interface. Grab a box that fits your input and output needs and your budget. You can't go wrong with almost any brand these days. They're really pumping out great sounding boxes. Pick up a microphone, get a large diaphragm condenser to start. If you can't afford that or you already have something like an SM57, a dynamic microphone, we've looked at that in recent weeks of how awesome that mic is. It can get the job done on almost anything. That's another great option. There are a lot of them used on eBay. And finally, pick up a pair of studio headphones. You don't have to spend more than $100 to get a good pair of headphones. People would disagree with me, but it's okay. We can all have our own opinion. But those are the 5 core elements of a kick-in home studio. My studio is basically those same 5 elements, just a little bit bigger. I need to record a drum kit with 8 mics for a lot of the bands that want to have multi-track drums. So my interface has gotten bigger to accommodate that. I have more microphones to accommodate the same thing with drums. Most everything else, I just use one microphone. I have speakers. I have 2 sets of speakers. I reference some on real mid-rangey speakers, my main KRKs. I've got a couple of pair of headphones that I use. Same thing as the headphones. I've worked on headphones before. I use Pro Tools. I've used it for over a decade. It's the same piece of software I've been using. And my computer. That's changed as my needs change. I have a couple. One I take on the road for mobile recording. One I mix on here. And as those get outdated or as I need more power, I can always upgrade them. But you don't need to upgrade that often because, again, these things are ridiculously powerful, especially if you started this 10 years ago like I did on a computer that wasn't meant to be a recording computer. I was still making records then. Somehow they sounded halfway decent, so it's possible today. Those are the 5 key elements. Think about what you have in your studio. Do you have all 5? You probably do. If you're getting started, those are the 5 things to think about. Don't worry about price. Don't worry about brand. Just pick something that fits in your budget, that seems to get decent reviews. It's going to work great for you. The rest of it comes with using it and learning it. So hopefully that helps you guys. Throw down any questions or comments you have on the video or the blog. Let me know maybe what you're using in your studio, any suggestions and tips you have on those core elements. And again, I'm always here to try to answer questions, so please keep them coming on the blog. That's the best place to reach me. You can email me directly through the blog at therecordingrevolution.com. I will promise to read that email at some point and get back with you when I can. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.